Good evening and welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Tonight we'll spend a little quiet time together with an old and gentle idea, how to let go of the day. Before we begin, if you'd like, tell us where you're listening from tonight. There's a quiet comfort in knowing we're keeping each other company in the dark. You made it to the end of another day. That is no small thing. Most of us carry the day to bed with us, the things we said and the things we didn't, the small worries that grow louder once the lights go out. Tonight, you can set some of that down, slowly, gently, one soft thought at a time. There's no hurry, and nothing is expected of you. You don't need to follow closely. You don't need to understand it or remember any of it. There is nothing to do here, and nowhere else you need to be. And if you drift off long before the end, good. That means it's working. That is the only wish for tonight. So settle in, wherever you are. Let your shoulders come down. Let your breathing slow. You're safe. The day is over now, and you are allowed to rest. You're here at Restful Minds. Whenever you're ready, let's begin. Almost 2,000 years ago, on the cold northern edge of the Roman world, there was a man who could not sleep either. His name was Marcus Aurelius. He was the emperor of Rome, and on this particular night, he is sitting alone in a tent, in a camp beside the Danube, in a country that is not his own. Picture it with me. There is no hurry. We have all night. The tent is small, smaller than you would expect for an emperor. There is a folding stool, a low wooden table, a brazier of coals in the corner, glowing softly, giving off more light than heat. Outside, the camp is going quiet. A horse shifts somewhere. Someone laughs, once, and then thinks better of it. Two men walk past, their voices low, their footsteps soft in the mud, and then, slowly, all of it settles. The great machine of the day, the messengers, the maps, the arguments, the endless small decisions that only he could make, has finally stopped moving. It has been running since before dawn, and now, at last, it is still. Marcus sits. He does not do anything for a while. You know this moment. Everyone does. It is the moment when the day is finally over, and the noise stops, and the quiet arrives, and you discover that the quiet is not empty at all. It is full of everything you did not have time to feel while the day was still happening. He pulls a small book toward him. Not a book for anyone else. Just a few pages he keeps for himself. He writes in Greek, though Latin is his own tongue. Perhaps because Greek is the language of the thing he is trying to do. The language of thinking. The language of trying to be a little better tomorrow than you were today. He dips the pen. He does not write yet, because tonight, like most nights, his mind is not empty. His mind is still back in the day. He is thinking about a man who spoke to him rudely that morning, and how he had said nothing, and how he is still, hours later, composing the perfect reply. He is thinking about a decision he made at noon that he is no longer certain was right. He is thinking about a letter from Rome and what it did not say. He is thinking about the war, which will not end this year, or perhaps ever, and about how tired he is of it. He is thinking about people who are dead. He is thinking, somewhere underneath all of it, about how tired he is in a way that sleep does not seem to fix. The most powerful man in the world sits alone in a tent. At the end of a long day, replaying it. I find that comforting. I hope you do too, because if he did it, if a man who governed an empire, who studied philosophy his whole life, who is remembered 18 centuries later as one of the wisest people who ever lived. If he lay awake at night, chewing over the small, ungenerous things of the day, then perhaps there is nothing wrong with you. You are not weak for carrying today into tonight. You are just a person, doing what people have always done, sitting in the dark at the end of a long day, holding a day that is already over. The coals shift in the brazier, a small orange collapse, and Marcus lets out a breath. Here is what he is about to write. Not tonight's exact words, nobody knows those, but the shape of the thought, which he returned to again and again in different forms across all the years of that little book. The thought is this: the day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down, that's all. That's the whole idea we're going to sit with tonight. It is a very small idea. It will take us hours to properly let it in, and that's fine. We have hours. There is nowhere else to be. But let me say it once more, plainly, so it has somewhere soft to land in you. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down. Notice how the mind objects. It always does. At first it says, "But the thing that man said to me," and yes, he said it. He said it, and it is over. Whatever it was, it happened in the daylight, in a room that is now empty, in hours that have already been carried away by the turning of the earth. It is not still happening. It only feels like it is, because you are still holding it, it says. But that decision I made, I am not sure it was right. And perhaps it wasn't. Marcus made bad decisions too. Some of them cost lives. His mistakes were larger than yours, and he knew it. And still, at night, in the dark, in a tent by a river, there is nothing to be done about it. Nothing at all. Tonight, no decision can be revisited. No word can be unsaid. The whole apparatus of doing has closed for the night, which means, and here is the gift hidden inside it, there is nothing you are supposed to be doing right. Now, nothing. Let that be true for a moment. Not as a philosophy, just as a fact about tonight. Nothing you can do, nothing you can fix, nothing you can prepare or prevent or repair from where you are lying right now in the dark. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. Marcus knew something that most of us have to learn again every single night. That the mind will keep working on a thing long after the working has stopped helping. It will chew a small humiliation for hours. It will rehearse a conversation that will never happen. It will summon tomorrow into the room and set it down heavily at the foot of the bed. So you have to look at it, and none of that is a moral failing. It is just what minds do. They are trying to protect you. They have simply not noticed that the danger has passed, and that the tent is quiet, and that everyone has gone to sleep. So we do not fight the mind. We are not going to fight anything tonight. We are going to do what Marcus did, which is gentler than fighting. We are simply going to notice again and again, patiently, the way you would guide a tired child back to bed a fourth time, without raising your voice, that the day is over. That is all. Notice, return. Notice, return. Let me tell you what his life was actually like, so you know that this idea was not born somewhere easy. He did not choose to be emperor. It was chosen for him when he was a boy, by an old man who saw something in him. He would have preferred, I think, to be left alone with his books. Instead, he got plague and war, and a treasury that never had enough in it, and a body that ached, and a great many people who wanted things from him. He spent the last decade of his life in camps like this one, far from home, on the edge of the map, fighting a war he did not want against people he did not hate. And every night, in a tent, he sat down and wrote a few lines to himself, reminding himself of things he already knew and kept forgetting. Be patient, be kind, do the work in front of you, let the rest go. He was not writing for us. That is what I love about it. He never intended for anyone to read it. He was just a tired man, trying to help himself get through the night. 1800 years later, the tent is gone, and the river has changed course, and the empire has crumbled into museums. But the tiredness is exactly the same, and so, it turns out, is the cure. The coals settle again. The night deepens, and somewhere in the dark outside, the camp is sleeping. Breathe out, if you like. Nothing is required of you. Nothing is required of you, and yet the mind keeps working. Let's look at what it is doing, very gently, without blaming it. Because once you see what your mind does at night, it stops being an enemy in the room. It becomes what it truly is, a tired, loyal thing, still standing guard long after the day is done. Here is the first thing it does. It rehearses, somewhere in your day. A conversation went wrong. Perhaps someone was sharp with you. Perhaps you stayed silent when you meant to speak, or spoke when silence would have been kinder. And now, in the dark, your mind wanders back to that doorway. It stands you there again, and it whispers, "Let's try that one more time," so you try it again. You find the perfect response, calm, clear, quiet, a sentence that lands so well the other person has nothing left to say, and because it felt so good, you replay it, and again, you are having a conversation with someone who is currently asleep. Somewhere across the city or across the years, they lie in the dark with no idea that they are standing in your room tonight. They are not thinking of you. They have not thought of that moment since it passed. Only you remain in that doorway. Marcus knew that doorway well. He was an emperor, which meant his days were crowded with people who wanted something from him. Some of them were unkind about it, and some were unkind in ways he could not answer, because he was the emperor, and emperors cannot always answer. So at night, in his tent, he replayed them too. He wrote about them. The ungrateful, the arrogant, the dishonest, the envious. He met them every morning. But notice what he did with that list. This is the beautiful part. He did not write them down to nurse a grudge. He listed them at dawn, before the day began, like a traveler checking his pack before stepping onto a rough road. Today, he told himself, I will meet people who are ungrateful, and arrogant, and dishonest, and unkind. And when I meet them, I will not be surprised. Consider what that does. It takes the sting out before the sting arrives. It says, this is simply what a day contains. Not because the world is bad, but because the world is full of people, and people are frightened and tired and moving half asleep through their own lives. Sometimes they are cruel without ever meaning to be. And then he goes a step further. This is where it becomes gentle rather than grim. He reminds himself that such people act out of blindness, not malice. They believe they are doing right, and they cannot harm him unless he agrees to be harmed. Because whatever unkindness they offered, the weight of it stays with them. It never belonged to him. Sit with that for a moment tonight. Whatever sharpness landed on you today, the rudeness in a shop, the message that never arrived, the tone in someone's voice that you have been turning over ever since. Look at it one last time, and then give it back. It is not yours. it was never yours. It came out of somebody else's tiredness, or fear, or some old quiet wound that you know nothing about and never will. They handed it to you. You carried it through the afternoon, and now you have brought it to bed. You may set it down, not because you must be big enough to forgive it. Forget forgiveness for tonight. That is work for the daylight. Set it down for a simpler reason. It is heavy, and you are tired, and it isn't yours. The coals settle in the brazier. Marcus writes a line, crosses it out, writes it again, slower, sits back, outside. The Danube moves in the dark, patient, cold, carrying everything away with it. Here is the second thing the mind does at night. It invents, not memories this time, but futures. Conversations that have not happened yet. The words you will say tomorrow, and how they will answer, and what you will say to that. Meetings, explanations, arguments, with people who may never say the thing you are preparing for. The mind builds an entire tomorrow, in miniature, right there on the pillow beside you, and it makes you live in it. It is exhausting. You are doing the heavy work of a day you have not even reached, and the strangest part, almost none of it ever happens. Think back, truly think, if you have the energy, and if you don't, simply let this drift past you. All those nights spent building tomorrow in the dark, all those carefully rehearsed disasters. How many arrived exactly as you built them? Almost none. And the things that did go wrong were almost never the ones you rehearsed. Marcus lived through a plague that emptied whole cities. He buried children. He carried a body that hurt, and he knew he might not live to see the end of the war he was fighting. If anyone had reason to lie awake building catastrophes, it was the man in that tent, and what he told himself over and over in 100 different ways was this: you have only this moment. The past is spent. The future is not here. Neither of them can be lived in tonight. They can only be visited, and they are cold places to spend a night. Come back to the tent. Come back to the embers. Come back to the rhythm of your own breathing, and the weight of your own body on the bed, and the quiet truth that at this exact second, nothing is wrong. Notice. Return. That is the entire practice. That is all he was doing in that little book, night after night, for years, not conquering his mind, not fixing himself, simply noticing where his thoughts had drifted and walking them home, as many times as it took, without anger, without keeping score. And if the ruler of the Roman world had to do that every single night, then you may do it too, as many times as you need. It is not a sign that you are failing at this. It is the practice itself. So if your mind wanders while I am speaking, let it. It is doing what minds do. And whenever you notice, gently come back to this voice, to your breath, to the small, warm dark of the room you are lying in. Notice, return. There is no wrong way to do this. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down, and those conversations you are still having with people who are asleep. Let them sleep. They have their own darkness to lie in, their own tired minds, moving through their own long days. Everyone who was sharp with you today is, at some point tonight, lying down in the dark exactly as you are, hoping to be forgiven for something. Isn't that a strange, soft thought? The camp is silent now. Even the horses are still. The fire in the brazier has faded to a low red. The tent is warm, and the man at the table sets down his pen. He looks into the quiet. His hands rest flat on the wood. He is not solving anything. He is not planning tomorrow. He is simply sitting in the last warm hour of a long day, letting it be over. Let it be over. Nothing is required of you. Let it be over. Nothing is required of you. There is an old idea we should visit tonight. It is older than Marcus. He learned it from a man he never met. That man was called Epictetus. He was born a slave. Think of that for a moment. The most famous teacher of freedom in the Roman world had once been owned by another man. He had no rights, no property, no say in where his body went or what it did. And somewhere in that life, he arrived at a single thought that he spent the rest of his years teaching. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. That is all. That is the whole of it. What is up to us is small, he said, almost embarrassingly small. Our own judgments, our own intentions, what we choose to do with what arrives, and what is not up to us is nearly everything else. Our bodies, in the end, our reputations, what other people think and say and decide, whether we are treated fairly, whether we are loved back, what happened yesterday, what arrives tomorrow. Nearly everything is outside the fence. When you first hear that, it sounds bleak, doesn't it? As though someone is taking things away from you. But turn it over, slowly, the way you would turn a smooth stone in your hand. If nearly everything is outside the fence, then nearly everything was never yours to carry. The unfair thing that happened, the way that person changed toward you, the outcome you worked so hard for that went the other way, the illness, the timing, the letter that came or the one that never did, none of it was ever inside your fence. You have been carrying things that were never handed to you. That is why you are so tired. Marcus copied this idea into his private book again and again. An emperor learning freedom from a former slave. He had armies and gold and the power to have any man in the empire killed with a word. And he still could not make the plague stop. He could not make the war end. He could not make his own body stop aching, or bring back the children he had buried, or force a single person to love him. So the most powerful man alive spent his nights reminding himself of the same thing you and I need reminding of tonight. Not this either. This was never mine. Let's do it with tonight. Very gently, somewhere in your day there was a thing that did not go the way you wanted. Bring it to mind just for a moment. Do not go into it. Just hold it at arm's length, the way you would hold something up to the light dot. Now ask the simple question. The only question, is this mine tonight? Can I, lying here in the dark, in this bed, change one atom of it? And almost always the answer is no. Not because you are powerless, but because it is night and doing has closed, and the only thing awake in the whole world is your mind, still turning it over like a hand rubbing at a bruise. So put it outside the fence, where it already was. You are not giving up on it. This isn't surrender. Tomorrow, in the daylight, if there is something to be done, you will do it. And you will do it better for having slept. You are simply putting it down for the night. That thing will still be there in the morning, if it needs to be. It doesn't need you to hold it while you sleep. It won't get away. It won't grow teeth. It will simply wait the way the day waits. On the other side of the dark, nothing you can hold on to tonight is made better by holding it. Say it with me, if you like. Not out loud, just under your breath, where the thought lives. This is not mine tonight. The coals in the brazier have gone from red to grey at the edges. Marcus has not moved. The tent is very warm now, and outside there is nothing but the river, going where rivers go, which is away, always away, taking the day with it. There is a line he wrote that I keep coming back to, not the words exactly, but the shape of it. He said that a man is not troubled by things. He is troubled by his opinion about things. The event arrives. That's outside the fence. And then, very fast, so fast we never see it happen, we say something to ourselves about it. This is terrible. This ruins everything. This means I am a failure. This means they never cared. That sentence, that little sentence we tell ourselves, that is the thing that keeps us awake. Not the event, the sentence. And the sentence is inside the fence. That is where all your freedom lives. In that narrow space between what happened and what you told yourself about it. Tonight, you don't need to fix anything in that space. You don't need to argue with your own thoughts or replace them with better ones. That's daytime work, too. Tonight you only need to notice, softly, that the sentence is not the event, and then let go of both. The past is outside the fence, and it is already gone. Tomorrow is outside the fence, and it hasn't arrived. Other people's hearts are outside the fence, and always will be. The weather, the war, the illness, the outcome. All of it, outside, inside the fence. Right now, there is only this, a body, lying down at last, breathing, warm, held by whatever you are lying on. A day that is finished. A voice in the dark, keeping you company. That's what's yours tonight. That's all of it, and it is enough. Marcus closes the little book. He does not read back what he has written. He never did, I think. It wasn't for reading. It was for putting down. He sets his hand flat on the cover for a moment, like someone saying good night to a friend, and then he lets the day go. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down. Nothing is required of you. There is a kind of tiredness that sleep alone does not fix. You know the one. It does not come from the body. It comes from hurrying, from a whole day spent slightly ahead of yourself, reaching for the next thing before the last one was finished, eating while working, walking while planning, listening to someone with half your mind already 3 steps down the road. We spend our days leaning forward, and then we lie down at night and wonder why we cannot stop. Let's stop leaning forward now. There is nowhere to get to. This is the 1 hour of the day with no destination in it. Marcus knew about hurry. He had more reasons to hurry than almost anyone who ever lived. An empire waited on his decisions. Armies waited. A war that would not end waited. Messengers stood outside his tent at every hour with things that could not wait. And yet the thing he kept teaching himself, over and over, in that little book, was to slow down, to do one thing, to be where he actually was. He wrote that we should do each task as if it were the last thing we would ever do, not in fear, in attention, as though it deserved our whole self, because it did. Think how strange that is. The busiest man in the world, reminding himself to slow down. If he needed the reminder, then the hurry is not a flaw in you. It is just the water we all swim in. But here, tonight, in the dark, you can step out of the water, because the truth is, almost nothing worth having comes quickly, and almost nothing that comes quickly is worth having. The bread has to rise in its own time. You cannot hurry it with worry. You cannot stand over the dough at midnight, anxious, and make it faster. It rises while you sleep, or it does not rise at all. Your life is like that. More of it than you think, The things that are healing in you are healing at their own pace, quietly, without asking your permission, mostly while you rest. The griefs that are slowly becoming bearable, the wounds closing over, the lessons settling into wisdom, none of it can be rushed. All of it happens in the dark, in the waiting, in the slow dot. Think of a seed in the ground. For a long time it looks as though nothing is happening at all. No shoot, no green, just bare earth and silence, and what seems like failure. But under the surface, where no one can see, the seed is doing the most important work of its whole life. It is sending a root down into the dark first, before it ever reaches for the light. And it cannot be hurried, and it cannot be helped. And if you dug it up each night to check on it, it would never grow at all. So much of what matters in a life is like that, working in the dark, rooting down before it rises, asking only to be left alone and trusted and given time. You have been the bare earth lately, perhaps, wondering if anything is happening at all. Something is. It is just happening where you cannot see it yet, and your only task tonight is to not dig it up, to lie still over it, warm and dark, and let it root. You do not have to do anything to help it along tonight. In fact, the best thing you can do for it is exactly this. Lie still. Stop reaching. Let the slow things be slow. Marcus watched a river do this every night. The Danube did not hurry. A river cannot be hurried. It would not even understand the idea. It goes at the speed of water, which is the speed of patience. And it arrives exactly when it arrives, and it has never once been late, because it has nowhere it is supposed to be. The moon does not rush across the sky. The season does not arrive before it is ready. The oak does not strain to grow faster. It simply grows, one slow ring a year for 300 years, and becomes the largest thing in the forest by refusing to hurry. Nature is never in a hurry, and everything gets done. Only we hurry. And we are the only part of nature that lies awake at night. And here is something I want you to hear gently before we go on. You did not hurry today because something is wrong with you. You hurried because you care. Look closely at your rushing, and you will almost always find love underneath it. You hurried to provide for someone, to be there in time, to not let anyone down, to hold a life together that would come apart if you stopped. The hurry was never the enemy. It was only love that forgot, for a while, how to breathe. So we are not going to be hard on the hurry tonight. We are just going to let it rest. It has earned its rest, the same as you. There may be a lesson in that. Not tonight, though. Tonight there is no lesson to learn. Tonight you only have to be as unhurried as the river and the moon. And the tree. Feel the hurry leave your body. It usually lives in a few places. A slight forward tilt, even lying down, as though you are still about to get up. A tightness in the front of the body. A readiness. A sense, deep and old, that you are late for something. You are not late for anything. There is nothing tonight you are early or late for. The idea of time itself can be set down with everything else. The clock will keep its own hours without your supervision. You do not have to count them. Let the shoulders fall back. Let the chest open. Let the body understand that the race, whatever it was, is over for today. Nobody is timing you. Nobody is waiting. There is no next thing. There is only this breath. And it is in no hurry at all. All day you held many things at once. You were never doing only one thing. Even when you sat, some part of you was standing. Even when you rested, some part of you was already up and moving toward the next task. That is the great weariness of a modern day, not the work, but the holding of 10 things while you do the one. Tonight there is only one thing, and it is not even a task. It is a breath, and it is doing itself, and it asks nothing of you but to be noticed. One thing, after all those years of 10,000 things. Just this, just the air, going out, slowly, in its own time. Breathe out, slowly, slower than you think you need to, and again notice how the out-breath cannot be rushed without becoming something else. A rushed breath is a gasp. A slow breath is a rest. Your own body knows the difference between panic and peace, and it is choosing peace now, one long exhale at a time. Marcus set down his pen. He was a slow writer at the end of the day. The words came the way they came, and he did not force them. Some nights he wrote a page, some nights a single line, some nights nothing at all, and that was allowed to picture him for a moment in the low gold light. The candle has burned down. His hand is tired. He reads back the one line he has written tonight and thinks about changing a word, and then decides to leave it as it is. It is enough. One true sentence, set down slowly, is worth more than a page written in a hurry, and he knew this because he had written both. Across all those years, intense like this one, he did not write to finish. He wrote to be a little more himself before he slept. There was no page count, no one waiting to read it, nothing to complete, just a man at the end of a long day, letting the last of his thoughts settle onto the paper the way silt settles to the bottom of still water. Slowly, once the current has finally stopped, he had learned, somewhere in those long campaigns, that forcing a thing rarely improves it, that the harder you grip, the worse you hold, that patience is not doing nothing. Patience is trusting that the slow work is happening, even when you cannot see it. You can trust that tonight, whatever is slowly working itself out in your life, it is working. You do not have to stand over it. You do not have to check on it every hour in the dark. You can take your hands off it and lie back and let it take the time it takes. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down. Nothing is required of you, and the things that are not finished, let them be unfinished, slowly, in their own time. They are not asking to be hurried. They are only asking to be trusted. Let the slow things be slow. Notice, return, come back to the long, unhurried breath. Come back to the body that has finally stopped leaning forward. Come back to the river, moving at the speed of patience in the dark. Past a sleeping camp, notice, return. There is no wrong way to do this. There is, especially, no fast way. This is the one thing in your life that cannot be rushed, and would not be worth rushing, and asks only that you go slowly, and breathe, and wait. Let it be over. Nothing is required of you. Let's leave the mind behind for a while. It has had more than its share of our attention tonight. Let's come down, slowly and gently, into the body instead. Marcus Aurelius was not a healthy man. We forget this when we look at his statues. Those calm marble eyes, the beard neatly trimmed, the toga draped with effortless dignity. But the truth was more fragile. For most of his adult life, he lived in a body that was breaking down. His chest hurt. His stomach troubled him for days at a time. He slept badly, lying awake in the damp cold of northern camps, listening to the wind cross the plains. His physician was Galen, the finest doctor of the age, who prepared bitter medicine so that the emperor could get through his duties. He wrote his private journal in a body that ached. I find something steadying in that. All those lines about patience, about endurance, about meeting the morning without bitterness. They were not written by a man in perfect health, resting in a sunlit garden. They were written by someone hunched over a small table, shivering, far from home, holding a pen with stiff fingers, and yet he was gentle with his body. That is the thing. He did not despise it for failing him. He did not lie on his camp bed, arguing with the pain. He treated his ailing body the way a wise traveler treats an old, faithful horse that has carried him across 1,000 miles of hard country, with respect, with a quiet sadness, and with no cruelty at all. So let's offer that same grace to ourselves. Tonight, your body carried you through this entire day. Think of everything it did for you, without ever asking permission or praise. It kept your heart beating, steady and unhurried, while you worried about money or work or tomorrow. It drew air into your lungs while you argued in your head with someone who was not even in the room. It digested your food. It healed small wounds you have already forgotten. It moved you from room to room, street to street, through every demand of the daylight hours. And it did not complain once. It has been working for you since before you drew your first breath. It has never taken a single night off. And now, here it is, lying down at last. Finally still, notice it, if you wish. Not to evaluate it, not to fix a single flaw, simply to say hello. Start with your feet. They bore your whole weight today. Think of every step on hard floors and paved roads. Let them be heavy now. Let the soles soften, loose and warm against the sheets. Move up to your legs. However far they walked, however long they stood, their journey for this day is finished. There are no more steps to take, no more thresholds to cross. Let them sink into the mattress like two stones falling into deep water. Notice your hands, those quiet instruments that touched 100 things today, held cups, typed messages, opened doors, carried bags, held on tightly to the day. There is nothing left for them to grasp tonight. Uncurl your fingers. Let your palms open, soft and empty. An empty hand has nothing to defend. Bring your attention to your shoulders, that place where we store everything we cannot say. The unspoken grievance, the sudden worry, the weight of the people we are trying so hard to protect. Feel how high they may have drifted toward your ears today, like a shield raised against the world. Let them drop, an inch, then 2, deeper into the bed. Put the shield down. The battle is over for tonight. Notice your jaw. For hours, without realizing it, you may have been holding your teeth together, bracing, holding back words. Let it unclench. Let your tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth. Let the muscles around your lips go slack, and behind your eyes. That crowded room where your thoughts have been running since dawn. Let a cool dark settle there too. Smooth the small furrows on your forehead. Let your face become as blank as an unwritten page. There is nothing to prove here. There is no test at the end. If you drift off in the middle of a sentence, that is not a failure. That is the whole point of this hour. Marcus lay down in the dark, just like this, shivering under a rough wool blanket in his tent by the Danube. He was in his 50s. His body hurt, and he knew that when dawn broke, A long and brutal war would still be waiting on the other side of the canvas. And what he said to himself in the quiet was, more or less this: the body will do what bodies do. It will age, it will tire, it will ache, and in the end it will return to the earth it came from. This was always the arrangement. It was never a punishment. It was never an injustice. It is simply the way of things. And in the meantime, right now, in this small, enclosed space, it is warm, it is breathing, it is safe. There is a great comfort hidden in that. Nothing is going wrong tonight. Your body is not failing you. It is doing the oldest thing it knows how to do, settling down, repairing itself, waiting for the light. You do not need to help it. You could not force sleep to come, even if you tried with all your strength. Sleep is one of the very few things in this life that arrives only when you stop reaching for it. So stop reaching, let the bed carry you. That is its only job tonight. Let the frame take your weight. Let the mattress absorb every ounce of the day. Let the pillow hold your heavy head. Let your body settle into whatever shape it wants. You have been holding yourself upright all day long. You are allowed to stop now. In the corner of the tent, the coals in the iron brazier have gone mostly to soft grey ash. Only a small ember of crimson is left at the center, glowing faintly in the gloom. The air has dropped another degree. Marcus pulls his woolen cloak higher around his shoulders. He does not light another candle. There are no more dispatches to sign. No more history to write tonight. He is not thinking about Rome. He is not thinking about his enemies, or what he will leave behind. He is simply listening to the river, somewhere out there in the cold darkness. The Danube goes on with its ancient work. It was flowing long before a single Roman stone was laid, and it will be flowing long after the empire has crumbled into dust. It moves steadily, patiently, past thousands of sleeping soldiers, carrying the cold mountain water down toward the sea. Rivers are patient. They never hurry. They do not fight the rocks in their bed. They simply move around them. They do not try to reach the sea before their time. They just go, and whatever falls into their current, they carry it a while, and let it drop further downstream. You can let your day go further downstream tonight, too. Whatever happened today, the successes, the blunders, the words spoken too fast, the things left undone, set it gently into the water. Let the current take it. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down. Feel how the room holds you right now. Feel how absolutely nothing in this exact second requires a single action, or thought, or decision from you. Your breathing is happening on its own. Your heart is beating without any instruction. You are being carried by life itself, the very same way you were carried long before you ever learned to walk or to worry. Nothing is required of you, and if your mind drifts away again into a thought or a memory, and it will, do not be harsh with it. It is tired too. It has had a long day and a long life, and it does not yet know how to stop. Notice. Return. Bring your attention gently back to the weight of your limbs, back to the warm dark of your room, back to the sound of this voice, and to a river you have never seen. Moving past a tent in the ancient world, notice. Return. There is no wrong way to do this. Marcus closes his eyes. The blanket against his chin is rough. The ground beneath the camp bed is hard. He is hundreds of miles from everything he loves, and tomorrow will be difficult. And he knows it, and still, before sleep takes him, He reminds himself of one last thing. I have done what was given to me to do today. Some of it well, some of it badly. But it is closed now. It does not belong to my hands anymore. Let it be over, and then he lets the day go. The way a hand opens to let a smooth stone drop into a deep, dark river, and it drifts away from him in the silence, slowly, without leaving a single ripple behind. Let it be over. Nothing is required of you. Nothing is required of you. The coals have almost gone out now. An hour ago they were red and hot enough to keep a tent warm. Now there is only ash and one small ember somewhere deep in the middle, still holding a little heat that nobody can see. By morning there will be nothing there at all. Grey dust, cold iron dot, and nobody will mind. That is what fire does. That is what fire is. Marcus watches it the way you might watch a fire go out. Not sadly, just watching. He wrote about this often, about how everything is always going, how the things we hold are already on their way out of our hands, even while we hold them, how the world is a river and we are standing in it, and nothing we reach for stays. When you read those lines in the daylight, they can sound cold. They can sound like a man trying to talk himself out of caring. But at night, at the end of a long day, they sound like something else entirely. They sound like mercy, because if everything passes, then this passes to dot the thing that happened today. The mistake you keep circling, the conversation you would give anything to have again, the heaviness you have been carrying around in your chest since this afternoon, that you cannot name and cannot put down, it is already passing. It began passing the moment it arrived. Think of all the days you have lived that you cannot remember now. Thousands of them. Ordinary Tuesdays. Whole seasons. Long weeks that felt, at the time, as though they would never end. Where are they? Gone, completely. Not held anywhere, by anyone. And think of the days that were hard. The ones you were certain you would never get over. Some of them you truly thought you could not survive. And here you are, lying down in the dark, breathing at the end of another day. You got through every single one of them. Every one. That is not a small thing. That is the whole record of your life, and it is a record of survival. The days that broke your heart. Let them go on ahead of you. They are not still happening. They are only remembered, which is a much lighter thing to carry. Marcus buried children, several of them. We know their names. He wrote no great outburst of grief in his private book. He wrote something quieter and harder, and in its own way more tender. He reminded himself that they were given and then taken back, and that this was always going to be true of everything he loved. That love and loss come from the same place, and always have. He was not saying it did not hurt. He was saying that it hurt because it mattered. And then he went on, and the war continued, and the seasons turned, and the man kept writing his little book, night after night, until one night he stopped. Everything is passing, including the parts you would give anything to keep, and that, strangely, is the very reason you can rest tonight. Because nothing that has hold of you right now will keep its grip forever. Not the worry, not the sadness, not the burning shame of a thing you said 15 years ago that comes back to you sometimes. Without warning, in the dark, it will loosen. It always loosens. Not because you fought it, but because everything does. Even this night is passing right now, while you lie here in it. Slowly, quietly, turning toward the morning without needing any help from you. You are not stuck. You have never been stuck. You have only ever been moving at the same speed as the river, in the same direction as everyone who has ever lived. Feel the bed underneath you. Feel how the room stays exactly the same. No matter what happened today, the walls do not know. The dark does not know. This voice does not know and would not judge you if it did. You are simply a person lying down at the end of a day in a world that has held a great many tired people. And let them sleep. Marcus is nearly asleep now. His breathing has changed. The cloak has slipped a little from his shoulder, and he has not bothered to pull it back. Outside, the Danube keeps moving in the dark. It does not notice the emperor. It did not notice the soldiers, or the plague, or the wars fought over its banks for centuries. It just goes on, carrying whatever falls into it, letting it go further down. 1800 years later, the river is still there, the man is not, and here is the strange comfort in that. The thing he understood better than almost anyone. He was never trying to stay. He was only trying to be here well while he was here. He did not need to fix the empire. He did not need to win the war, or be remembered, or finish anything at all. He needed to do the day in front of him as kindly as he could, and then let it go, and then sleep. That is all any of us are doing. That is all you did today, whatever it looked like from the outside. Whatever you did not get to, whatever you meant to be, and were not, quite. You lived one whole day of a life that is passing, and now that day is finished, and it will never come back to trouble. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down. The last ember in the brazier goes dark. There is no sound when it happens. The tent is only cold air and cloth and a sleeping man now. Everything you were worried about tonight will one day be a thing that used to worry you. Let that be a comfort, not a sadness. Nothing lasts. Nothing has to. Not even this tiredness. Not even this ache. Not even this long, long day. Let it be over. Notice. Return. Come back to your breathing, which is slower now than when we started. Come back to the weight of your body, which the bed is holding, and will go on holding all night, without being asked. Notice. Return. There is no wrong way to do this. There is nowhere else to be. Sleep is coming toward you now, in its own time, the way it always has. The way it did when you were small and someone else turned out the light. You do not have to meet it halfway. Just lie still. Let it come. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down. Nothing is required of you. Nothing is required of you. There is one more thing we should set down before we sleep. Perhaps the heaviest thing of all. Not what other people did to you today. Not what went wrong. What you did, or rather, what you did not do, the list. You know the one. It waits for you at the end of the day, and it always has one more item on it than you remembered. The thing you meant to finish. The message you did not answer. The call you did not make again. The person you were short with when they had done nothing wrong. The way you spoke to someone you love. The hour you lost doing nothing. That you cannot account for now. And under all of it, quieter, older. The sentence that has been following you around for years. I should be further along than this. Let's look at that, gently. Just once. And then let's put it down. Marcus was the emperor of Rome, and he thought he was failing. That is not an exaggeration. Read the little book, and you will find a man scolding himself over and over for the same small faults, for losing his temper, for being impatient with fools, for staying in bed in the morning when he should have risen. for caring too much what people said about him, for not being the man he intended to be. He wrote those reminders because he kept forgetting them. He kept forgetting them because he was a person. The wisest man in the empire went to sleep most nights, feeling that he had not done well enough. Does that make you feel better or worse? I hope better, because it means the feeling you have tonight is not evidence. It is not proof of anything. It is just what the mind does at the end of a day, when the doing is finished and there is nothing left to hide behind. Every honest person who has ever lived has lain down at night and thought, I could have done more, and every one of them was as tired as you are. So let's be as gentle with you as Marcus learned to be with himself. He had a habit. At the end of the day, that is worth borrowing. He would go over the day, not to punish himself, to look at it plainly, the way you would look at a field after a long day's work. What did I do well? Good, remember it. What did I do badly? Then tomorrow, do it better. That is all a person can offer. And what was never in my hands at all? Set it down. It was never mine. No punishment. No dragging himself through the same failure 100 times in the dark. He looked at it once, and then he closed the book, and then he slept, because he understood something we forget. Lying awake, feeling ashamed of the day, does not repair a single thing. It fixes nothing. It undoes nothing. It heals no one. The person you were short with will not sleep better because you are lying here suffering about it. Nothing in this world improves because you refuse to rest. Guilt at midnight is a debt that pays nobody tomorrow. If there is an apology to make, you will make it, and it will be a better apology for having come from a rested person. If there is work left, you will do it, and you will do it better in the morning light. If there is a call to make, you will make it, but not now. Now is for sleeping. So let me tell you the truth about today, and I want you to hear it in the tired part of you, the part that has been working since dawn. You did enough today. You woke into a life that asks a great deal of you, and you carried it as far as you could, and then you carried it a little further. You were kind at least once, when nobody noticed and nobody thanked you. You kept a promise. You did the small, unimportant tasks that hold a life together that nobody will ever praise you for, and that would fall apart in a week without you. You were tired, and you kept going. That is what a good day looks like from the inside. It never feels like enough while you are living it. It never has. You are not behind. There is no schedule. Nobody handed you a timetable at birth that you are failing to keep. The person you compare yourself to is lying in the dark tonight too, feeling that they are behind. Everyone is. Everyone always was. Even the emperor. Let it be over now. Feel your body against the bed. Feel how it has stopped, waiting to be told what to do. Whatever is unfinished can stay unfinished. The world was unfinished when you woke this morning, and it will be unfinished when you die, and it was never your job to complete it, only to tend your small part of it. For as long as you are here, you tended it today. You may rest. Marcus is asleep now. He did not finish his sentence. There is a line in the book, somewhere in those years, that simply stops, and no one knows why, and it does not matter at all. The tent is dark. The brazier is cold. Outside, the sentries change, and the horses shift, and the great river goes on patiently. In the dark, the most powerful man in the world is asleep, and the world is going on without him, exactly as it will go on without you tonight. Isn't that a relief? Nothing depends on you until morning. Nothing at all. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down, notice, return if the list comes back. And it might. You do not have to argue with it. Just say, softly, without any feeling in it, not tonight, not tonight, notice, return. There is no wrong way to do this. There is nothing you have to solve. There is nothing you have to be. You are already enough. You were enough this morning, before you did a single thing. Let it be over. Nothing is required of you. The day is over. But the wanting does not always end when the day does. You have felt it, I think. That quiet hunger that follows you to bed. Not for food, for more. A little more money, so you could finally stop worrying. A little more time. A little more room. A better version of the thing you already have. The sense, soft and constant, that your real life is waiting just past the next thing you need to get. It is one of the last things to grow quiet at night. Let's let it grow quiet now. There was a Stoic who lived long before Marcus, and whose books Marcus read. His name was Seneca, and Seneca was rich. Genuinely, enormously rich, one of the wealthiest men in Rome. So when he wrote about wanting, he was not a poor man making peace with having little. He was a rich man who had learned something that all his wealth had taught him the hard way. He said that it is not the man who has too little who is poor. It is the man who wants more. Sit with that for a moment. Here in the dark, poverty, he was saying, is not a number. It is not the size of what you have. It is the size of the gap between what you have and what you crave. A man with almost nothing, who wants nothing more, is rich. A man with almost everything, who still aches for the next thing, is poor, and will stay poor no matter how much he gathers, because the wanting always runs a little ahead of the having. That is the cruel trick of it. Enough is always one step further on. You reach the thing you were sure would finally be enough, and for a day, maybe two, you rest. And then, quietly, without your permission, the finish line picks itself up and moves further down the road, and you are running again, toward a horizon that steps back every time you step toward it. You have watched it happen. Think of a thing you once wanted badly, truly ached for. A thing you were certain would change everything once you had it. And then you got it. And within a week, perhaps less, it had quietly become ordinary. It joined the furniture of your life and stopped shining, and the wanting simply lifted off it and landed on the next thing. Still hungry, as if it had never been fed at all. That is not a flaw in the things. It is the nature of wanting. Wanting is not a hole that any object can fill. It is a way the mind holds itself, leaning forward, and no amount of getting will ever change a lean into a rest. Only letting go does that. You could run your whole life that way. Many good people do. They reach the end of it still leaning forward, still reaching, having never once let themselves arrive. But you can arrive tonight. Just for tonight. You can stop, here, in the dark, and let this be enough. And there is something kind about the night, in this. All day, the world was quietly telling you that you lacked things. It is very good at that, the world. Everywhere you looked, something was whispering that you were not quite enough yet, that you were missing something, that happiness was for sale just over there and you had not bought it. A whole day of small voices, each one opening a little gap in you and pointing at what could fill it. But listen now. In this room, tonight, nothing is selling you anything. No voice is telling you what you lack. The dark asks nothing of you. It does not want you thinner or richer or further along. It simply holds you exactly as you are, with exactly what you have, and finds no fault in any of it. Because the strange and freeing truth is this, right now. In this moment, you already have everything you actually need. Let's look, not at the wanting, at what is actually here. You are warm. Somewhere in the world tonight, someone is cold, and would trade everything they own to be as warm as you are right now, under this blanket, in this room. You are lying down. Your whole weight is held. You do not have to hold yourself up for hours more. You have had enough to eat today to be here, listening, alive. Your body is fed enough to rest. You are safe. The door is shut. Nothing is coming for you in the night. You are breathing freely, without pain, without effort. The single most necessary thing in your entire life is happening on its own, for free, and it has never once sent you a bill. You have this quiet. After a day full of noise, there is finally quiet. And quiet is a thing many people pay a great deal of money and travel a great distance to find. It is here, tonight, for nothing, all around you. And you have this, a moment in which nothing is being asked of you. Do you know how rare that is, in a life? To be, for a little while, entirely unrequired, not needed, not measured, not waited on, just allowed to exist, warm and breathing, owing the world nothing at all until the morning. That is the whole list of what a human being needs to get through a night. Warmth, rest, safety, breath, quiet, and a few unrequired hours in the dark. You have every one of them. You are, at this exact moment, wanting for nothing that this moment actually requires. Everything else, everything the hungry mind was reaching for a minute ago, is a want, not a need. And wants can wait until morning. They are very patient, the wants. They will still be there if you decide they matter. But they cannot be fed tonight, and trying to feed them in the dark only keeps you from the rest that is right here. Already yours, already paid for. The body understands this better than the mind does. Notice how little your body is actually asking for right now. It does not want more. It is not reaching for anything. It only wants to be still and warm and allowed to stop. It has always known how to be content. It is only the mind that forgot. Marcus knew this too, in his own way. He was the master of the entire Roman world. He could have had anything. Palaces, feasts, gold, every pleasure a man could name. All of it his for a word. And he chose to sleep on a hard bed, in a plain tent, in a coarse wool robe, eating simple food. Not because he had to, because he had noticed the same thing Seneca noticed, that the more a man needs in order to be content, the more the world can take from him, and the less free he is. And that the man who can be happy with little can never really be threatened, because he has already made peace with having only what he has. He was trying, in his tired way, to want less. Not because wanting is a sin, because wanting less is lighter to carry, because a soul that needs less has further to fall before it lands, and lands softer when it does. And notice, he was not made miserable by his plain bed and his simple food. Read what he wrote, and you find no complaint in it, no sighing after luxury. Quite the opposite. There is a lightness in him, the particular lightness of a man who has stopped needing the world to give him more before he can be at peace. He had set down a weight most emperors carry to their graves, the weight of the next thing. And without it, even a hard cot in a cold tent could hold a contented sleep. That contentment is not something you have to earn, or buy, or build. It is not waiting at the end of some long acquiring. It is available right now, tonight, the moment you stop reaching. It was never in the things. It was always in the letting go of needing them. You do not have to solve any of this tonight. You do not have to become a person who wants nothing. That is a long road, and this is not the hour for long roads. Tonight there is only one small, gentle thing to do. Let what you have be enough. For one night, not forever. Just until morning. In the morning you can want things again, and chase them, and that is allowed, and some of them are worth chasing, but not now. Now, for these few dark hours, you are going to practice the rarest and most restful thing a person can do. You are going to arrive. You are going to be here in a life that, for tonight, contains everything it needs. Feel how the wanting loosens when you stop feeding it. It is not a wolf at the door. It is only a habit, an old and tired habit, and like every part of you, it is allowed to rest now. There is nothing you are missing tonight. There is nothing you need to reach for. Everything necessary is already here, in this warm dark, with you. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down. Nothing is required of you. And the wanting, let that be finished too, for now. Let the gap between what you have and what you crave close. Gently, all the way, until there is no space left in it for anything but rest. Notice, return, come back to the warmth you already have. Come back to the breath you were already given. Come back to a moment that is exactly as it is, enough. Notice, return. There is no wrong way to do this. There is nothing here to improve. For once, nothing needs to be more than it already is. Least of all you. Let it be over. Nothing is required of you. It is very late now. In the tent and in your room. This is the hour when people feel most alone. Not in the daylight, when there are errands and voices and things to be done. Here, in the dark, when the house is quiet and everyone you love is asleep, and you are the only one still awake with your own mind. If that is where you are tonight, I want to tell you something true. You are not the only one. Right now, as this voice reaches you, there are millions of people lying in the dark exactly as you are. Some are lying beside someone they love and still feel lonely. Some are lying beside no one at all. Some are old and cannot sleep the way they used to. Some are young and frightened of a life that has not started yet. Some are sick. Some are worried about money. Some are grieving in that quiet way that only happens after everyone else has gone home and stopped asking. Some are just tired, in a way that has no name. Every one of them is doing what you are doing. Lying down, breathing, waiting for sleep. You are not strange, and you are not behind. You are doing the oldest thing people do. Every night, for as long as there have been people, someone has lain down in the dark and waited for morning. Tonight it is your turn, and a few million others. That is all this is. You have joined a very old, very quiet company. Marcus wrote about this too, in his own way. He was surrounded by soldiers and servants, and men who wanted things from him. And he was one of the loneliest people in the empire. Think of him lying there. Thousands of men sleeping around that tent. He could hear them breathing. Whole legions of them, close enough to call out to, a man who could command the world, and could not command his own sleep. And what he told himself was this, that we all come from the same place, that we are made for each other, the way hands are made for each other, the way the upper teeth are made for the lower. That the man who annoys you, and the man who loves you, and the man asleep in the next tent are all made of the same brief material, doing the same brief thing. He said that to make himself kinder, but it works the other way too. It means you belong to something, tonight. In some other country, somebody your age is lying awake, worrying about the exact thing you are worrying about. In some other century, someone lay in the dark and worried about it too. And the words for it were different, and the feeling was the same. Marcus lay in that tent by the Danube, and he could not sleep either, and he wrote a few lines to himself about patience. And 1800 years later, a tired person in another world is listening to those lines in the dark and feeling less alone. That is the whole point of the little book. He didn't know it, but that is what he was doing. He was keeping you company, so let him. Let this voice keep you company too, for as long as you need it, until you drift. And you will not remember when. You do not have to be strong tonight. There is nobody here to be strong for. You do not have to be interesting, or useful, or good. You do not have to be anything at all. You are simply a person in the dark at the end of a day, being carried by the same tiredness that has carried everyone who ever lived toward the same soft place. Let the loneliness be there. If it is there, do not push it away. It is only a feeling, and it is not the truth about your life. Feelings at midnight never are. In the morning, the world will be full of people again. The kettle, the street, a voice saying your name. But for now, let it be quiet. Quiet is not the same as alone. The camp is asleep around Marcus. Thousands of men breathing in the dark under the same cold sky. Some of them frightened, some of them dreaming of home, some of them awake, like their emperor, listening to the river. The river does not care about any of it. It just goes on, and it is the one thing in the whole scene that is still here tonight. Feel the bed under you, feel your breath going in and out without any help from you. It has done that all your life. It did it while you slept as a child. It will do it tonight, whether you attend to it or not. There is something very old holding you up. It does not need your permission. Notice, return. Come back to the warm dark. Come back to the weight of the blanket. Come back to this voice, which will keep going a while, so that you do not have to be alone with the silence until you are. Ready. Notice. Return. There is no wrong way to do this. Somewhere. Right now, a stranger just fell asleep, listening to the rain. Somewhere else, a nurse is finishing a long shift and thinking about her bed. Somewhere else, a person your grandmother's age is lying awake, thinking about someone who died 40 years ago. And somewhere in the middle of all of it, you held, ordinary, not alone. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down. There is nobody left to be tonight. Nothing to prove. No one to answer. Just a body and a breath. And a long night ahead of you with nothing in it that can hurt you. Let it be over. Nothing is required of you. Nothing is required of you. There is one page of Marcus's book that is not like the others. It is the first one. Before the philosophy, before the reminders and the scoldings, before any of the famous lines, he begins by thanking people. He goes through them one by one. His grandfather, who taught him not to lose his temper. His mother, who taught him to live simply and to give things away. A teacher who taught him to hear criticism without flinching. Another who taught him to read carefully and not pretend to understand what he did not. someone who showed him how to be corrected without shame, someone who never rushed and never seemed hurried and was never unkind. Page after page of it. Small debts, ordinary kindnesses, a whole life taken apart and handed back to the people who made it. He wrote that in a war camp, in the cold, in a body that hurt, not a list of what he had achieved, a list of what he had been given. I think about that a lot, because when the mind is tired, it does not count what it was given. It counts what is missing. That is its habit, and it is not your fault. And tonight we will simply do the other thing instead. Let's count what was given to you today. Not what you earned, not what you deserved, just what came. You had water today, clean, whenever you wanted it. Most people who have ever lived did not. You had light when it got dark, warmth when it got cold, a door that closed. Somewhere today, something tasted good, a first mouthful of coffee, bread, a piece of fruit, something ordinary, and your body knew what to do with it without being told. The sun came up this morning without being asked. It will do it again tomorrow. Whether or not you sleep well tonight, you saw something today that was beautiful, though you may not have noticed it at the time. Light on a wall, the particular grey of the sky before rain, a tree doing what trees do, patiently, in the same place it has been for years. Someone was kind to you, in a small way, that cost them nothing and that you forgot about within the hour, and you were kind to someone too. You were. Perhaps you have already forgotten that as well. None of these will ever be listed among your achievements. They are what a day is actually made of, and they are the reason you can lie here now, in the dark, warm, safe, dry, with a bed under you and a roof over you, and nothing hunting you in the night. This is not a small life. It only feels small at midnight. Marcus knew every one of the people on that first page was gone. His mother was gone. His teachers were gone. That is why he wrote them down, I think. Not for us, to keep them for a moment longer. And when he had finished thanking them all, he went to sleep in a tent, on the edge of a war he could not win. Gratitude does not require good fortune. It only requires attention. He had almost nothing to be glad about, and he was glad anyway. So let's do the last, easiest part. Think of one person who was good to you, not the whole story, not the complicated ones, just one face. Someone who, at some point in your life, was kind to you when they did not have to be. Hold them there for a moment. They may be dead. They may be far away. They may not remember doing it. It doesn't matter. Whatever they gave you, you are still carrying it. Right now, in the dark, all these years later. That is what people do for each other. And somebody out there is holding you the same way tonight, in some small warm room of their memory, and you will never know it. Isn't that a fine thing to fall asleep on? Now, think of one thing from today. One, it can be almost nothing. The sound of rain. A message that made you smile. Sitting down after standing for a long time. Getting into this bed. That is enough. That is the whole practice. It was worth having a day for that. The tent is dark and man is asleep and the river keeps going. There is nothing else you need to do tonight. There is nothing left to be grateful for, or sorry about, or afraid of. Until morning, let it be over. Notice, return, come back to the warmth of your body. Come back to your slow breathing. Come back to the pleasant, ordinary fact of a bed and a night. And a voice. Notice. Return, there is no wrong way to do this. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down, and it was a good day in the end. Not because it went well, because it was given to you, and you lived it, and now it is complete. Nothing is required of you. Think back over your day for a moment. Not the hard parts, just how many things there were, how many small decisions you made without noticing, what to say and how to say it, what to do first and what could wait, which message to answer, which to leave. 100 tiny choices, one after another, from the moment you opened your eyes. Most of them too small to remember now. All of them taking a little from you as they passed. Here is something worth knowing, lying here in the dark. Most nights, you are not tired from one big thing. You are tired from 1,000 small ones. It is the sheer number of it that wears us down. Not the weight of a single stone, but the carrying of 100 pebbles, all day, in every pocket. Each one almost nothing. Together, a great heaviness that you cannot quite explain, because no single part of it was hard enough to name. You may have felt it most near the end of the day. That strange moment when even a tiny choice becomes too much. When someone asks you a small, easy question, what would you like to eat? Where would you like to go? And you find you have nothing left to answer with. It is not that the question is hard. It is that you have already made 1,000 choices today, and the part of you that chooses is simply spent. That is not weakness. That is a mind that has done a great deal of quiet work, more than anyone saw, more than you gave yourself any credit for. It has earned its silence now. The mind was never built for this. It was built to do one thing, and then the next thing, under an open sky. Instead, we give it a day made of fragments, a dozen threads all held at once, each one half finished, each one quietly asking to be remembered, and it holds them, loyally, all day. Long after it is tired, and it is the unfinished ones that stay loudest. Have you noticed that? The task you completed goes quiet the moment it is done. It asks nothing more of you. But the thing left half done keeps a small light on in the back of the mind, all evening, whispering, "Do not forget me." A day is full of those small lights, left burning in rooms you have already walked out of. That is why the mind is still busy now in the dark, when there is nothing left to do with any of it. So let's do the kindest thing. Let's make it simple again. Look at how simple this moment actually is, once you stop bringing the day into it. There is a room. There is the dark. There is your body lying down. There is your breath going in and out. And there is this voice keeping you company. That is all. That is the entire world right now. Everything else you are holding is somewhere else, in another room, in tomorrow, out of reach and out of your hands. Right here, tonight, life has become very, very simple. One room, one breath. One quiet hour with nothing in it that you have to solve. Let that simplicity be a relief. The way clean sheets are a relief. The way an empty table is a relief after a cluttered one. And those small lights, still burning in the back of the mind, the half-finished things whispering, "Do not forget me." You can let them go dark now, one by one. Not because they do not matter, because a light left on in an empty room helps no one, and slowly burns down the very thing you will need in the morning to tend to them properly. You are not abandoning anything by letting it rest tonight. You are keeping yourself, so there is someone rested enough to do it tomorrow. Marcus understood the peace of a simple thing. He lived in the middle of the most complicated life imaginable. An empire's worth of problems crossed his table every single day, each one tangled, each one urgent, each one with 100 people pulling at it. If anyone knew what it was to hold too many threads at once, it was this man, and so he kept his own life deliberately plain. Few possessions, simple food, a clear space, not because plainness is holy, but because a simple life leaves room in the mind. Everything you own is a small thread the mind must hold. Every complication you invite is one more thing to track in the dark. He had enough that he could not put down, so everything he could keep simple, he kept simple, to leave a little quiet in himself for the things that mattered. He wrote a reminder to himself, again and again in different words, to do less, to strip away the unnecessary, to ask of each thing whether it truly needed to be done at all, because most of what fills a day does not, and a life can grow so crowded with small unnecessary things that there is no room left in it. To simply be alive, you cannot reorganize your whole life tonight, but you can do the small version of it right now in your mind. You can set down the threads, one at a time, and let the day grow simple. Take the first one. Whatever the mind is holding most tightly, you do not have to solve it. Just set it down, gently, the way you would set down something fragile, and say to it, not now. It is safe, it will keep. Now the next. Set that down too, and the next dot. You do not have to clear them all. Just loosen your grip, thread by thread, and feel how each one you release makes the room a little quieter. There is no prize for holding them through the night. They do not get better for being carried in the dark. They only get heavier. Picture a wooden table after a long and crowded day, covered in things, papers, tools, the clutter of hours, and then a hand, slowly, without hurry, clearing it, not throwing anything away, just setting each thing aside until the table is bare and clean, with a single candle burning in the middle of it. One flame, one small, warm point of light in all that cleared space. That is what we are doing to your mind right now. Clearing the table, setting aside the 100 small things, one by one, until there is only one flame left. And the one flame is your breath, going in and out, in the middle of a great deal of quiet dark. You do not have to attend to anything but that. Everything else is off the table now, set aside, waiting patiently in the dark for a morning that will come whether you prepare for it or not. And notice how the dark itself is helping you. All day your eyes were busy. There was so much to see, so much to take in, color and motion and 1,000 things pulling at your attention through the light. Now the dark has quietly taken all of that away. One whole sense, one whole world of demands, simply switched off. There is almost nothing to see now, and that is not a loss. It is a mercy. The dark is the oldest simplifier there is. Every night, for as long as there have been living things, it has come and gently removed the world, and made everything small and near and simple, and said, in its wordless way, that is enough seeing for one day. Rest your eyes now. There is nothing here you need to look at. Let your eyes be heavy. There is nothing to watch for. The dark is keeping watch, the way it always has. Notice how much lighter a simple thing is than a complicated one. How restful it is to have only one thing to hold. After a whole day of many, the mind sinks into oneness the way a tired body sinks into a bed. This is what it was always reaching for, underneath all the wanting and the doing. Not more, less. The deep relief of less. You knew this once, easily, without being taught. When you were very small, a day held only one thing at a time. One game, one meal, one story before sleep, There were no thousand threads, no open lights in the back of the mind. You did the thing you were doing, and then you did the next. And when the dark came, you simply let go and slept, because no one had yet taught you how to lie awake holding 100 pieces of tomorrow. That child is still in you. That simplicity is still in you. It was never lost, only buried under years of complication. Tonight you are just clearing a little of it away and finding, underneath, the same simple creature who always knew how to rest. There is nothing complicated about sleep. It is the simplest thing there is. A body lying down in the dark, letting go. You already know how to do it. You knew before you knew anything else. It asks nothing clever of you, nothing complicated, nothing you have to figure out. It asks only that you stop holding so many things, and let the table be cleared, and let there be one flame, and then let even that grow dim. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down. Nothing is required of you, and all its 1,000 small pieces. Let them scatter softly into the dark, and settle, and be simple again by morning. Notice, return, come back to the one room. Come back to the one breath. Come back to the single small flame of your own quiet body, here. In all this cleared and peaceful dark. Notice, return. There is no wrong way to do this. There is nothing to organize, nothing to arrange, nothing to hold. For this 1 hour, your whole life is as simple as a candle in an empty room. Let it be over. Nothing is required of you. There is one thing left that keeps people awake, and we have circled it all night without landing on it. Not the past. The other one, tomorrow. It comes at this hour, when the room is dark and there is nothing else to look at. It sits down on the edge of the bed, and it begins, quietly, to list things. The meeting, the letter, the result, the appointment you have been dreading for weeks, the conversation you cannot avoid any longer, the money and how the month is longer than it should be, the person you must face and what they will say, and what you will say back, and underneath all of it, the older fear, the one without a shape. What if I cannot manage? What if it is too much? What if I am not enough for the thing that is coming? Look at the room you are lying in. It is dark. It is quiet. Whatever is coming tomorrow is not here, not in this room, not in this hour, not in this body, lying still under this blanket. In the middle of a night that is asking nothing of you at all, you are being frightened by something that does not exist yet. Marcus lay in that tent knowing the war would still be there in the morning. Real soldiers, real losses, a campaign he might not survive, in a place he did not want to be. He did not tell himself it would be fine. He was not a man for comfortable lies. He told himself something better, that the thing had not happened yet, and might not happen the way he feared, and that when it came, it would come to a different man than the one lying awake at midnight. Because you meet the morning with morning. Strength, that is the part we forget. The person who will handle tomorrow is not you, right now, exhausted, at the end of the longest day, with nothing left. That person is a stranger. She has slept. He has eaten something. The light is up. There is coffee. There is a body that has repaired itself all night while you were somewhere else entirely. Tomorrow will be met by that person, not by you. Tonight, never make a plan at midnight. Never take the measure of your life at 3 in the morning. The dark is an unfair judge. Everything looks impossible when you are lying down and tired and cannot see your hands. Whatever you decided about yourself tonight, Decide it again in the morning. It will look completely different, and you will wonder how you ever believed it. So put tomorrow back where it belongs, outside the fence, on the other side of the dark, where it is waiting patiently, in no particular hurry to reach you. It will come. It always comes. And it will not come faster because you rehearsed it. Notice how the mind resists this. It believes the worrying is doing something. It believes that if it turns the problem over enough times in the dark, it will find the answer, and only then will it be allowed to rest. But it never finds the answer at night. Not once, in the whole history of tired people, has anyone solved their life at 2 in the morning. The answer comes later, in the light, sometimes while you are doing something else entirely, and not thinking about it at all. Sleep is not the interruption of the work. Sleep is part of the work. Marcus turns onto his side. The blanket is rough against his cheek. Somewhere in the camp, a fire hisses as someone banks it for the night. Outside, the river. Whatever happens tomorrow will happen to a rested man, or it will happen to a man who lay awake all night worrying about it. It will happen either way. That is the joke of it. That is the whole joke. So he sleeps. Not because he is brave, because he understands. And you may do the same. Tomorrow is not yours yet. It has not been given to you. You are holding something that has not arrived, and it is very heavy, and you may put it down. Nothing is required of you until morning. And when morning comes, it will bring the strength for its own day, the way it always has. Every single hard thing you were ever afraid of, you faced. You were there. You did it, somehow, and you are here now, lying down at the end of another day, having survived every one of them. You will face this one too, but not tonight. Tonight you rest. Let it be over. Notice, return, come back to the quiet. Come back to the dark that has nothing in it. Come back to the weight of your body and the sound of a voice that will keep going a little longer. Notice, return. There is no wrong way to do this. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down, and tomorrow is not here. Nothing is required of you. Everything is moving, even now, even here, in this still, dark room. The air in your lungs is not the air that was there a minute ago. The blood is moving. The cells are quietly replacing themselves, in their millions, while you lie here doing nothing. Outside, the night is turning, slowly, toward a morning it cannot help but reach. Nothing in the whole world is standing still tonight, though it all looks so quiet. And here is the thing we do not often say. You are moving too. You are not the same person who woke up this morning, the one who felt that sharp thing at midday, the embarrassment, the worry, whatever it was, that person has already changed. A whole day has moved through you since then. You are not quite who you were this morning, and you will not be quite who you are now by the time you wake. You never step into the same day twice, and you are never quite the same person stepping. There was a thinker, long before the Stoics, named Heraclitus, and he said something the Stoics never forgot, that you cannot step into the same river twice, because the river is always moving, and the second time it is different water. And so are you. You are different water to. Marcus loved this idea. He wrote it to himself in a dozen forms, that the universe is change, that nothing stays, that everything we see is already becoming something else, even as we look at it. He did not write it in sorrow. He wrote it the way you might note that the tide comes in, or that the leaves turn, as a plain fact about the world, and a strangely comforting one once you stop fighting it. Because here is what we get wrong. We think change is something that happens to us, something that arrives from outside and disturbs the solid, settled thing we are, and that we must brace against. But you are not a solid, settled thing. You never were. You are not a stone that change happens to. You are the changing itself. You are a river, moving from the day you began to the day you end. Becoming, always becoming, one version of yourself flowing quietly into the next. So gradually you almost never see it happen, and a river cannot be broken. Think about that, here, in the dark. A stone can be shattered. A stone can be cracked and worn, and one day broken into pieces. But you cannot break a river. You cannot shatter something that is already flowing. It simply moves around the thing that strikes it and closes over it and goes on. You have felt so breakable some days, so close to cracking, but that fear comes from thinking you are a stone. You are not. You are the water. Whatever struck you today, the river of you has already begun to close over it and move on. That is not weakness. That is the deepest kind of strength there is. The strength of the thing that cannot be broken because it does not stand still to be hit. So what is it then that makes us so tired? If change is not our enemy, what is? It is the holding on, the bracing. It is the part of us that wants to freeze the river, to stop the good moment and keep it forever, to go back to how things were before, to refuse the ending of a season that is already ending. That is the exhaustion, not the change itself, but the arms we throw out to stop it, night after night, against a current that was never going to stop for anyone. You know the feeling. Wanting a person to stay the way they were, wanting a good year not to end, wanting to hold a child at the age they are now, exactly now, before the next change takes them, wanting the version of your life that already slipped past while you were busy, and looking back at it and aching that you cannot step into that same river again. All of it love, and all of it, in the end, a kind of arguing with the water. The water does not argue back. It just keeps moving, kindly, patiently, whether we brace or not. And the only thing our bracing ever changes is how tired we are when morning comes. The river does not tire, because it does not resist itself. It simply is the flowing. And when you stop resisting your own flowing, when you let the change move through you instead of bracing against it, something in you can finally rest that has been holding on for a very long time. Let it move through you now. Whatever is changing in your life, the thing ending that you did not want to end, the thing beginning that you did not choose, the way you are not who you were and cannot go back and are not yet who you are becoming. Stop bracing against it just for tonight. Let the current carry you the way it carries everything, gently downstream, toward a morning neither of us can see yet. You do not have to hold yourself together tonight. That is the tiring thing, the holding together, and it is not even necessary, because you were never in danger of coming apart. You are not a vase balanced on an edge. You are a river in the dark, and rivers do not need to be held. They only need to be allowed to flow, and because everything is moving, nothing you feel tonight is the final word. Whatever mood you are in as you lie here, it is already changing. It is water, not stone. The heaviness in you right now is not a fixed thing you will carry forever. It is a stretch of the river you are passing through, and the current is already carrying you out of it, slowly, even as you notice it. No feeling has ever been permanent. Not one, in your whole life. The very worst nights you have known all changed into mornings, and then into weeks you can barely remember. This one will too. You do not have to force it to change. It is already changing on its own, the way everything does. You only have to let yourself be carried through it. Even your body knows this better than your mind. The body you are lying in tonight is not the body you had 10 years ago. Almost none of it is. The old cells have gone, quietly replaced. So slowly you never noticed the handover. The skin you are resting in now did not exist a few weeks ago. The lining of you renews itself over and over. Even your bones, which feel so solid, so permanent, are slowly and completely remade across the years. You have already been many bodies. You have already survived becoming every one of them, and through all that ceaseless changing, something stayed. You, the one who is listening now, not the cells, which came and went like water, but the quiet current running through them all, the same you who was small once, and will be old one day, unbroken across every version. This change you fear, whatever it is only the newest in a lifetime of changes you walked through without even seeing. And here you are, still yourself, still here, on the far side of all of them. And sleep itself is a small change, a gentle one. Every night you let go of the person you were today, and hand yourself over to the dark, and wake a little different, a little renewed, carrying less than you carried the night before. Sleep is the river doing its quietest work. It takes the day's version of you, tired and worn, and carries it off downstream, and leaves in its place a rested one, ready for a new day's water. You do not have to do that. You only have to allow it, to stop gripping the banks, to let go and be carried, and trust the current that has carried you safely through every single night of your life so far, and never once failed to bring you to a morning. Marcus sat by his river and watched the seasons change over the frontier, cold into thaw, thaw into the brief green summer, summer back into cold. Armies came and went. The war moved up the river and down it. The moon outside his tent grew full, and then thinned to nothing, and then filled again. Month after month, never once staying the shape he found it. Nothing he loved stayed the same, and nothing he dreaded lasted either. And slowly, over the years, he made his peace with the turning of it all, and found that a man who stops fighting the current has a great deal more strength left over for living. You can make that peace tonight, in the smallest way, just by letting the change be, and lying still in the middle of it, and trusting the flow. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down. Nothing is required of you, and everything that is changing. Let it change, softly, in the dark, without your bracing, without your grip. It knows where it is going. It always has. Notice, return. Come back to the moving breath. Come back to the quiet body that is renewing itself while you rest. Come back to the river of you, flowing gently through the dark. Toward the morning dot, notice, return. There is no wrong way to do this. There is nothing to hold together. You are not a stone that could break. You are the water, and the water is safe, and the water is already carrying you home. Let it be over. Nothing is required of you. There is something else that keeps people awake, and it is heavier than worry. It is anger, not the loud kind, that burns out fast. I mean the other kind, the kind that lies down with you, the slow, patient anger at someone who did something to you, and never apologized, and probably never will. It might be from today, It might be from 20 years ago. It does not matter. Anger does not know how old it is. It arrives in the dark exactly as fresh as the day it was made. Let's look at it once, not to solve it, just to set it down for the night. Marcus had a temper. We know this because he thanked his grandfather for teaching him to control it. And because a man who has mastered something does not need to remind himself of it every few pages. He wrote about anger more than almost anything else, which tells you what he was fighting. He was surrounded by men who lied to him, men who flattered him and then wrote against him. A general he trusted, who declared himself emperor while Marcus was still alive. Courtiers who wanted him dead, and what he told himself again and again in the cold in that tent was this: the harm they do to you is not the harm you think it is. Look at what they actually took: a sum of money, a position, a reputation, a word said in a room. These things belong to the world, not to you, and the world gives and takes them without asking anyone's permission. But then look at what you are doing to yourself. You are giving them your evening, your rest, the hours of your one short life that you will never have again. You are letting them into the last quiet room you have, and letting them sit down, and giving them your attention long after they stopped wanting it. Anger is a debt you pay yourself, and you pay it at night, alone, with interest. He put it more plainly than I can. He said that the consequence of anger costs us far more than the thing that caused it. Read that slowly. The anger is more expensive than the injury. The insult lasted 3 seconds. You have carried it for 11 years. Now, I am not going to ask you to forgive anyone tonight. Forgiveness is a large word, and it is daytime work, and it has to be done freely or not at all. It cannot be extracted from a tired person at midnight. If someone hurt you badly, then what happened was wrong, and no philosophy makes it right, and I would not insult you by pretending otherwise. I am asking something much smaller. Just put it down. For 8 hours, you are not saying it was acceptable. You are not saying they were right. You are saying, not tonight. This is my rest, and they do not get it. That is not weakness. That is the first free thing you have done all day. Marcus had a thought about this that I find useful and a little funny, though he was not a funny man. He said the best revenge is not to become like them. Think about that for a moment. The person who wronged you is, somewhere in their life, an unhappy person. People who are at peace do not spend their days taking things from others. Their cruelty came from somewhere, and wherever it came from, they have to live inside it every day for the rest of their life. You do not. You get to lie down tonight in a warm, dark room with a mind that is still capable of gentleness. That is not nothing. That may be everything. And if you spend this night burning about them, then they have taken one more thing from you. And this time, and I say this softly, this time you handed it over. So take it back. Feel where the anger sits in your body. It always sits somewhere, behind the sternum, in the jaw, in the hands, which have quietly curled again while I was speaking. Uncurl them, let the breath out slowly, let the chest go soft. The person you are angry with is not in this room. They have never been in this room. They are somewhere else entirely, living their own life, thinking about something you would find astonishingly unimportant. Only you are here, and you are safe, and warm, and free, and very tired. Let them go on ahead of you tonight, into their own lives, with whatever they are carrying. Set the anger in the river, With everything else, it will still be there in the morning if you want it. Nobody is taking it away from you. Anger keeps very well. It will wait patiently at the foot of the bed, and you can pick it up again with your coffee if it still seems worth carrying. But most mornings, you will find that it has grown lighter overnight. That is what rest does. It is the only thing that ever really lightens it. There was one more thing Marcus wrote, and it is the gentlest of all his hard sayings. He said that people who do wrong do it because they do not know any better, that nobody is unkind on purpose deep down, that they are mistaken about what is good, the way a man might be mistaken about a road and take the wrong one, and be lost for years. I do not know if that is true. Some nights I believe it. Some nights I do not, but I know what it does to a person who tries to believe it. It makes them a little softer. It takes the acid out of the chest at 2 in the morning, and a softer person sleeps better than a righteous one. You do not have to decide tonight. Just loosen your grip a little. That is all. Just a little. The coals are out. Marcus is asleep, and the men who lied to him are asleep. And the general who betrayed him has been dead for 18 centuries, and none of it matters at all now. None of it. Not one word of it. Everything that was ever done to you will end the same way. Quietly, unremembered, carried off. Downstream while everyone slept. Let it be over, notice, return. Come back to your breath. Come back to your unclenched hands, notice. Return. There is no wrong way to do this. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down, and so may they. Nothing is required of you. You do not have to change your whole life tonight. I think sometimes, in the dark, the mind lays out the entire distance at once. Everything you meant to become and have not yet. All the ways you meant to be different, better, further along. It puts the whole mountain in front of you at midnight when you are lying down and can do nothing about any of it. And then it wonders why you cannot sleep. So let's put the mountain down. You are not climbing anything tonight. Tonight there is only one small step, and it is the easiest one there is. It is to rest. That is all. That is the whole task. Here is something the Stoics understood, quietly, better than almost anyone. That a life is not changed in one great leap. It is changed the way water changes stone, not all at once. Drop by drop, small thing after small thing, repeated, until one day the shape is different, and you cannot even say which drop did it. You have seen it. If you have ever looked at an old stone step, worn into a gentle hollow by centuries of feet, no single footstep did that. Not one of them even left a mark you could see. And yet all of them together, over the long years, wore solid stone into a soft curve. That is how a person changes. That is how every real change happens. Not in the one dramatic night, but in the 1,000 small, unremarkable ones, each of which seem to do nothing at all. We always imagine the big moment, the grand decision that turns everything around, but that is not how a person is actually made. A person is made of small things, done over and over, until they become who you are. The way you speak to yourself when no one is listening, the small kindness, or the small unkindness, chosen 100 times a day without thinking. We become what we repeatedly do. Character is only habit, worn deep, and that is a gentle thing to know, lying here, because it means you never have to fix everything at once. You only ever have to take the next small step. And tonight, the next small step is simply to let yourself rest. Let me tell you about a man who understood this. In his own body, there was a Stoic named Epictetus. And of the three we keep company with on these nights, his life began the hardest. He was not born an emperor like Marcus. He was not born rich like Seneca. He was born a slave. He belonged to another man in Rome, and for the early part of his life he owned nothing, not even himself. And he was lame. He walked with a bad leg his whole life. The stories that have come down to us differ on how it happened, but they agree on this: he bore it without bitterness. He did not treat his lameness as a wrong done to him, to be raged against in the dark. He treated it as simply the shape of his life, the ground he was given to stand on. One of the things that was not up to him, and so he decided. One of the things he would not let disturb his peace. Think of that. A man with every reason to be bitter, who quietly refused to be. He did not become the great teacher of freedom in a single day. He rose slowly. He was allowed, while still a slave, to study philosophy, and he studied it the way a thirsty man drinks. Small lesson after small lesson, year after year. And in time he was freed, and in more time he began to teach. And eventually the sons of senators and the future advisors of emperors sat on the floor to listen to a freed slave with a limp explain how to be free in the only way that truly matters. Free inside. Free in the one place no master can reach. He got there the way anyone gets anywhere worth reaching, not by leaping, by taking the next small step, and then the next, for years, without needing to see the top of the stairs. And when he finally taught, he lived as simply as he had begun. He kept almost nothing. A small room, a mat, a lamp. For a long time he owned an iron lamp, and one night someone slipped in and stole it. And the story goes that he was not troubled. He had lost only iron, he said, and the thief had lost far more, becoming a thief for the sake of a lamp. The next day he bought a cheaper one of clay, so that there would be even less to lose next time. He wrote no books, not one. Everything we have of him, a student wrote down, because Epictetus himself was too busy living the thing to sit and take credit for it. He did not want to be admired. He wanted to be free, and to help a few others become free, one small conversation at a time. That was the whole shape of his life. Small room, small lamp, small daily practice, and out of all that smallness, quietly, over many years, one of the freest souls the world has known. And this was the heart of what he taught: that you do not become wise, or calm, or free by wishing for it, or by deciding it all at once on some hard night. You become it by practice, by small acts, repeated. Do the small right thing in front of you, he said, and then the next, and do not worry about becoming the whole of it at once. You are always practicing something. Every choice is a small rehearsal of the person you are slowly becoming. So here is the quiet truth for tonight: by lying down, by letting the day go, by choosing rest over one more hour of turning it all over in the dark, you are not doing nothing. You are practicing something. You are rehearsing a kind of gentleness toward yourself. You are taking one small step in the dark, toward becoming a person who knows how to lay a day down and let it be enough. That is not laziness. That is not giving up. It is one of the small drops that, over time, wears the stone into a softer shape. A person who learns to rest well, night after night, is slowly becoming someone steadier, kinder, harder to shake in the daylight. The rest is not time away from the work of your life. Some nights, the rest is the work of your life, and it gathers the way all small things gather. One good night of rest is only one night. But 100 of them, quietly, one after another, remake a person. They steady the hands. They soften the voice. They give you back a little of the patience the days keep taking. You will not feel it happen on any single night, any more than the stone feels a single footstep. But it is happening in you every time you let a day go and rest instead of turning it over till dawn. You are not only sleeping, you are slowly becoming someone who is well, and you do not have to do it perfectly. Epictetus did not ask anyone to be perfect. He asked only that when you fall out of it, you begin again without drama, without punishing yourself, the way you would simply pick up a dropped thread and carry on. Fall out, begin again. That is the whole practice. That is the only practice there has ever been. There is such relief in that, if you let there be. So much of our tiredness is not from failing, but from how hard we are on ourselves for failing. We drop the thread, and then we spend an hour scolding ourselves for dropping it, which helps nothing and only frays us further. Epictetus would have smiled at that. Just pick it up, he would say. The thread does not mind being dropped. It waits exactly where you left it, for a hand to lift it again. And there is no cost, no shame, no ground lost in the lifting. There is only the next small step, always waiting, always patient, no matter how many times you missed it before. So if your mind wandered back to the mountain while I was speaking, that is fine. Just begin again. Set the mountain down once more. Take the one small step once more. There is no limit on how many times you may begin again tonight. That is not you failing at rest. That is you practicing it. You have already taken the step, you know. You are already lying down. You already stopped and chose this quiet and let the voice keep you company. The small thing is already done. There is nothing left to begin. You are already here, already resting, already one night further along than you were. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down, nothing is required of you, and the whole long distance you are measuring in the dark. Leave it for the morning. It is walked one small step at a time, and not one of those steps is taken tonight. Tonight you only rest. That is the step. That is enough. Notice, return. Come back to the small warm fact of your body lying down. Come back to the breath, which needs no effort. Come back to the one easy step you have already taken, simply by being here. Notice, return. There is no wrong way to do this. There is no distance to cross tonight. There is only this one small step into the dark, and you have already taken it, and it was enough. Let it be over. Nothing is required of you. Here is the last small stone in your pocket. Let's take it out and look at it, and then let it fall. What they think of you, the thing you said in the meeting, and how it landed. The message you sent that sounded wrong the moment it left. The way your voice went strange when you were nervous. The look on someone's face. You have been playing that look on a loop. Since 4 o'clock this afternoon, somewhere behind your eyes, there is a courtroom. And it is always in session, and you are always being judged. And the judges are people who are, at this exact moment, brushing their teeth and thinking about absolutely nothing. Marcus wrote about this often, and he wrote about it with the particular impatience of a man who could not stop doing it himself. He was the emperor. Every room he entered rearranged itself around him. Every word he said was repeated. Statues of him stood in cities he had never visited, and still alone at night. He was writing reminders to himself to stop caring so much what people thought. He asked himself a question that is worth carrying to bed. Who are these people? Whose opinion of you costs you your sleep? Look at them honestly, not the imagined jury, the actual people, ordinary, distracted, anxious, doing their best, wrong about a great many things, as we all are. Half of them did not notice what you are agonizing over. The other half noticed for 4 seconds, and then went back to worrying about their own 4 seconds. Nobody is thinking about you as much as you fear. I know that sounds unkind. It is the kindest thing I will say tonight, because it means you are free. Free of an audience that was never really watching. Free of a performance nobody was grading. Free of a whole imaginary court in which you have been simultaneously the defendant, the prosecutor, and the only person paying attention. And here is the harder half of it. The part Marcus kept returning to at the end of his life. Even if they did think about you, even if they praised you endlessly in every city, those people will die, and the ones who remember them will die, and in the end there will be nobody left who ever heard your name, or his, or knew that any of us were here. Worrying about how we sounded on a Tuesday, he was not being bleak. Read it in the right voice, and it is a great tenderness. He is saying, it is all right. You may stop performing now. Nobody is keeping score, and the score would not last anyway. You may just be a person, doing the best you can. Kind when you manage it, and sorry when you don't. That is all any of them are doing. So take that look on someone's face, that one you have been replaying since 4 o'clock, and set it down. It was one moment, in one afternoon, in a life made of hundreds of thousands of moments. It is already gone. They have forgotten it. You are the only one who kept it. Let go of it. Notice how much lighter the chest becomes when there is nobody to impress. Notice that in this room, right now in the dark, there is not a single person watching you. You do not have to be clever here, or interesting, or admirable, or even likable. You do not have to be anything at all. You are simply a body in a bed, breathing at the end of a long day. Nobody is grading this. Nobody has ever graded it. You can be as ordinary as you like. What a relief. What an enormous, quiet relief. The tent is dark. The great man is asleep, and he is not great while he sleeps. He is a tired body under a rough blanket, exactly like every soldier in that camp. Exactly like you, nobody is watching him either. That is the truth beneath everything he wrote. Rank and reputation are borrowed clothes. Sleep takes them at the door and gives them back in the morning. And one morning it does not, and the world goes on precisely as before. Nothing you did today will be remembered as long as you. Fear, nothing you failed to do will be either. Isn't that a mercy? Let it be. Notice, return. Come back to your breath. Come back to the warm dark, where nobody is looking, and nothing is expected. Notice, return. There is no wrong way to do this. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down. The court is empty. The judges have gone home. They were never really there. Nothing is required of you. Let's go outside for a moment. Not really, just in the mind. Come out of the small, dark room, past the walls, up into the open night above the tent, and let's look at the sky. It is very old. The sky, the light reaching your eyes from those stars, left them long before you were born. Some of it left before there was anyone here at all to look up. You are seeing, tonight, into a past so deep it has no bottom, and it is quiet, and it is beautiful, and it does not need anything from you. The same stars are over the tent by the Danube. Marcus is looking at them too, on his back now, the writing done, his hands still. The same stars that were over Rome, and over every person who has ever tried to fall asleep at the end of a hard day, all the way back. The sky has watched all of them. It watched them worry, and then it watched them sleep, and then it watched them go. And it is still here, turning, patient, holding its light. Marcus had a practice he returned to often, on nights like this one. He would let his mind rise, up, away from his own small troubles, up above the camp, above the river, until he could look down on the whole of it from a great height. The armies became tiny. The borders he was fighting over became thin lines a person could step across. The city of Rome, the whole empire, the wars that filled his days, all of it shrank until it could sit in the palm of a hand. He did this not to feel small in a cruel way. He did it to feel free. Because from up there, at that height, he could see the truth of the size of things. And most of what had been pressing on him all day turned out to be very, very small. Let's do it with you now. Gently rise up just a little in the mind. Look down at yourself, lying there in the dark, in your room, in your bed. A single warm life, breathing, in a house, on a street. Now rise higher. See the town around you, most of it asleep. The dark fields or the quiet streets beyond it, the whole region curving away into night. Higher still. See the country you are in, laid out in the dark, its cities small pools of light. The sea at its edges, the curve of the coast higher. Now the whole earth turning slowly beneath you, half of it in darkness, half in day. Every person who has ever lived, and everyone alive tonight, all of them held on this one turning stone, hanging in a vast and silent dark. And if you like, keep rising, just a little further, because it is beautiful up here and there is no hurry. See the moon going round the earth the way it has for longer than there has been life to watch it. See the sun and the other worlds turning slowly around it, silent, enormous, patient. And beyond them the soft river of stars, wheeling so slowly that a whole human life is not long enough to see it move. All of it turning, all of it quiet, all of it perfectly at peace, and none of it, not one single part of it, needing anything from you tonight. Now drift gently back, down toward the turning earth, back toward the one small warm point that is you. And on the way down, find your worry, the thing that was so heavy an hour ago. Look for it from up here. You can barely see it. It has no size at all from this height. It is real, and it matters, and I am not going to tell you it does not. But from up here you can see its true size, and its true size is small, and its true weight is light. And it is not, it was never, the whole world. It only felt that way because you were lying so close to it in the dark. This is the gift the night sky gives, for free to anyone who looks up. It sets things back to their real size. It reminds you that you are small, yes, but that being small is not a sorrow. It is a relief. It means you were never meant to carry all of this. It means the world does not rest on your shoulders. It means you can set the whole heavy day down, because the earth will keep turning without your help, exactly as it has for every one of the billions of nights before this one. You are not responsible for holding up the sky. The sky holds itself. It always has. And here is the deeper comfort. the one the Stoics felt so strongly. You are not a stranger out here in all this vastness. You are not a small, frightened thing, alone in an empty cosmos. You are part of it. You belong to it, the way a star belongs to the sky. The very stuff you are made of, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, was made inside the stars long ago and scattered out into the dark, and gathered again over ages into you. You are not separate from that ancient sky. You are made of it. You are the cosmos, grown quiet and warm and alive for a little while, lying in a bed, listening to a voice. When you look up at the stars, something made of star is looking back at where it came from, and those same patterns up there, the ones our oldest ancestors gave names to, are still exactly where they left them. The same handful of stars gathered into the same familiar shapes, faithful, unchanged, looking down on you tonight as they looked down on people 10,000 years ago who lay just like you in the dark, tired, hoping for morning. The sky has never once abandoned its post. Whatever else changes in a life, whatever is lost, the stars keep their places, and come out again every clear night, the oldest and most faithful companions we have. You could go anywhere on this earth and be a stranger, and look up and find them waiting. There is a deep comfort in that constancy, if you let it in. Something up there is always there. Something is always keeping the light on. The Stoics saw the whole universe as one living, breathing whole, one vast order of which you are a small and genuine part, not a spectator, a member, held inside it the way a child is held in a family, belonging without having to earn it. Seneca loved the night sky for this. He wrote to a friend once, more or less, that no matter how small our circumstances, no matter how walled in a life can feel, the mind is never truly imprisoned, because it can always rise at night and walk among the stars. The body may be stuck in one small room, in one hard season, but look up, and the whole cosmos is open to you, free every night, asking no permission. He found a great freedom in that. On his worst nights, and he had many, he could lift his eyes and remember that he belonged to something without walls. You can do the same, right now, without moving at all. The room is small, but you are not shut in. Above the ceiling, above the roof, the whole sky is turning, and you are part of it. And no wall can hold the part of you that knows that. So you can rest the way the earth rests, the way the sea rests at night, still moving, but slow and dark and You do not have to keep anything running. The stars need no help from you to burn. The planet needs no help to turn. The night needs no help to pass into morning. All the great machinery of it runs itself, silently, perfectly, whether you sleep or wake. And it is asking you, in its wordless way, to let go now and rest and be carried. The way everything out here is carried, and everything is resting now, out there in the dark, along with you. The forests are still, every leaf of them holding the night. The fields lie quiet under the sky. The animals have found their hollows and their nests and gone to sleep. The birds with their heads tucked, the deer folded in the long grass, everything living that could lie down, lying down. A whole world resting. You are not the only one letting go tonight. You are joining the oldest and largest thing there is, the sleep of the earth, which comes every night and asks nothing and holds everything and lets it all go on. Feel how small you are and how safe that is. Feel how vast and old and quiet the thing is that holds you. Feel yourself as one small, warm point of life, one lit window among billions, on a turning world under an ancient sky, exactly where you belong, with nothing required of you at all. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down, nothing is required of you, and from up here, watch it drift away beneath you, that whole heavy day, growing smaller and smaller as you rise into rest, until it is just one more small light going out, far below, on a peaceful, turning earth notice. Return. Come back down now, softly, into the warm dark of your room. Come back into your body, small and safe and held. Come back to the breath and the bed and the vast quiet sky outside that is watching over you, the way it has watched over everyone. Always notice. Return. There is no wrong way to do this. You are a small part of something very large and very kind, and it is holding you tonight. And it does not need you to do anything but rest. Let it be over. There is one last thing the mind sometimes holds in the deep part of the night. The oldest thing, the one underneath all the others. We do not have to name it harshly. We can look at it the way the Stoics looked at it, which was gently and without fear. And we can let even this grow quiet before we sleep. You already practice it, you know, every single night, because sleep is a small letting go. Each night you loosen your grip on the day, and on your name, and on the person you were, and you hand yourself over to the dark, and you trust that you will be given back in the morning. You stop holding on. You stop keeping watch. You let yourself disappear, gently, into something larger and quieter than you. And every morning of your life, so far, it has returned you, rested, to the light. You are very good at this. You have done it thousands of times. It is the most natural thing you know how to do, and it never once hurt you. You knew how to do it best of all when you were small. Perhaps you remember it, or perhaps it is too far back to reach, but there was a time when you would fall asleep anywhere, completely in the middle of the noise of the world, in a moving car, on someone's shoulder, in a room full of talk. You let go utterly, with no fear at all, because some part of you knew you would be carried the rest of the way. And you were. Someone lifted you and carried you through the dark, and laid you down somewhere soft, and you woke in the morning safe, without ever knowing how you got there. That knowing is still in you, the knowing that it is safe to let go, that you will be carried, that you do not have to stay awake to make the morning come. You can let yourself be that small again tonight. You can let go the way a sleeping child lets go, trusting the dark to carry you the rest of the way it always has. The Stoics thought that the fear of the end was mostly a fear of the unknown, and that sleep is the great softener of that fear, because in sleep we let go a little every night and come to no harm. Marcus reminded himself often that whatever is natural cannot be evil, and that the end of a life is as natural as its beginning, as natural as the falling of leaves, as natural as this night giving way to morning. He did not want anyone to be afraid of it. He thought a life spent afraid of the end was a life not fully lived, and that the cure was not to conquer the fear, but to soften it by noticing how much of nature simply lets go, in its season, without terror, and is not lost, only changed. Seneca said, more or less, that a man who has truly learned how to let go has unlearned how to be afraid. And he practiced it the way we are practicing now, in small nightly pieces, so that the great letting go, whenever it came, would feel like something he already knew how to do, like lying down, like closing his eyes, like this, And look how the whole world does it, without any fear at all. The day does not cling to the sky. Every evening the sun lets go of the whole earth and slips away without a struggle, and the sky turns gold, and then soft, and then dark, and no one has ever called a sunset frightening. We call it beautiful. We stop what we are doing to watch it. The leaf lets go of the branch in its season and falls slowly, turning, and lands, and becomes the soil that feeds the spring. The wave rises, and stands for a moment, and lays itself down on the shore, and is not lost. Nothing in nature clings. Nothing in nature is afraid to rest. Only we, the ones who lie awake, have made a terror out of the most natural thing there is. And even we, in the end, remember how. Even we, every night, lie down and let the day die softly, and wake to find ourselves still here. Think of a wave, for a moment, since we have kept the river with us all night. A wave rises out of the sea, and travels a while, and has its brief shape, and then lays itself down. And you might think, watching only the wave, that something has been lost. But nothing has been lost at all. The water was never separate from the sea. The wave was only the sea, taking a shape for a while, and when the shape is done, the water simply is the sea again, as it always was, as it never stopped being. You are a wave the universe is making, for a little while. And whatever you fear losing, the water of you was never separate from the great quiet sea it came from, and cannot be. Think of all the people who went before you. Every one of them made this same peace, in the end. The billions who lived and loved and worried exactly as you do, and then, in their time, lay down for the last time and let go and were at rest. They are not troubled now. Whatever they feared, it is over for them, and it was gentler than they thought. The way the thing we dread is so often gentler than the dreading of it. They are resting. The whole earth is full of rest. You come from a long, long line of people who all, in the end, knew how to let go. And you carry that same quiet knowledge in you under all the fear, waiting, and the ones you have loved and lost. If you have lost any, they made this peace too. Wherever your mind places them, they are not struggling now. They are among the resting. They let go, as everyone does, and came to the same soft quiet that is waiting, in its own far-off time, for you. There is a strange comfort in that, on the hardest nights. That you are not going anywhere, the people you love have not already gone gently before you. That whatever this great rest is, it is not lonely, and it is not cruel, and it holds everyone in the end. The way the sea holds every wave it ever made. But none of that is for tonight. That is the beautiful part. Tonight you are not being asked for the great letting go. You are only being asked for the small one, the nightly one, the one you already know. You do not have to solve any of the large questions in the dark. They are not tonight's questions. Tonight has only one gentle task, the same one it always has, to loosen your grip, to trust the dark, to let yourself be carried the way you have been carried through every night of your life, safely to a morning dot, and knowing this, softly, at the edge of sleep, does not make the night frightening. It makes it precious. It makes it tender. It makes this warm bed, this quiet breath, this ordinary night, into a small and perfect thing, worth having, complete in itself, asking nothing of tomorrow. There is a person who makes this small peace, a little, night after night, and slowly they become harder to frighten in the daylight too. When you are no longer quite so afraid of the great letting go, the small daily losses lose some of their sting as well. The things that cannot be kept become a little easier to enjoy while they are here, precisely because you have stopped demanding that they last forever. A person at peace with endings holds everything more gently, and more gratefully, and more lightly, and sleeps better, and wakes kinder. You do not have to arrive at all of that tonight. You are only taking one more small step toward it, the way you take every step, quietly, in the dark. By letting this one day go, the day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down. Nothing is required of you, and everything you have ever had to let go of, and everything you ever will. Let it rest now, out there in the kind dark, with all the people who already made their peace, and found it gentler than they feared. You are safe. You have always been safe in the letting go. It is the one thing that has never once failed to bring you home. So let go now, not of your life, just of the day, just of the grip, just enough to sleep. Feel how ready you are for it. All night we have been setting things down, one after another, and your hands are empty now, and your body is heavy, and the day is far behind you, and there is nothing left in your arms to hold. This is what the very end of a day feels like when it has been properly laid down. Not anxious, not unfinished, just quiet and soft and ready for the dark. You did the whole day. You carried it all the way here. And now, the last and gentlest thing, you get to set even yourself down and rest. Let the breath do what it wants to do now, which is to slow and lengthen and grow shallow and easy. The breath of someone already half gone into sleep. Let the body grow vague at its edges, the way it does just before you drift, when you can no longer quite feel where you end and the bed begins. Let the thoughts come loose and float, untethered, making less and less sense, which is not confusion, but the mind itself beginning to dream. Let all of it happen. You do not have to steer any of it. You only have to allow it, and it will carry you the rest of the way exactly as it always has. Notice, return, or do not return. It is very late, and you are very safe, and you may simply let yourself go where the night is taking you. Come back to the breath, if you like going out, longer and slower, like something setting down at last. Come back to the warm dark that has always been kind to you. Come back, or drift on. There is no wrong way now. There is no wrong way to do any of this. Let it be over. Nothing is required of you. We are almost done with thinking now. There is nothing left to understand tonight. Everything we needed to say has been said, and you do not need to remember any of it. And it will still be true in the morning, whether you remember it or not. So let's just be here for a while. Let's look at the camp. It is the deepest part of the night, the hour when even the guards grow quiet. Thousands of men are asleep on the ground, wrapped in whatever they have. Their boots are off. Their weapons are within reach and forgotten. Whatever they did today, whatever they will do tomorrow, none of it is happening now. Some of them are dreaming of home. Some are dreaming of nothing at all. The fires have burned down to ash and a little smoke. There is frost coming, faintly. On the leather and the iron, the horses stand together, breathing, half asleep, the way horses sleep, and beyond the last row of tents, past the ditch and the stakes, the country goes on. Dark trees, wet fields, a cold moon behind cloud, and the river, always the river, moving through the middle of it all, quiet and enormous, carrying the melted snow of mountains nobody in the camp has ever seen. It does not know there is a war. It does not know there is an empire. It just goes in one of the tents. An old man is sleeping with his hand still resting near a small book. He will not open again tonight. He is not an emperor while he sleeps. He is just a tired man in the cold, breathing slowly like everyone else. That is the thing about sleep. It takes everything away very gently and gives it all back in the morning. Rank, worry, the name you answer to, all of it set down at the door. You may set yours down too. Nobody in this room needs anything from you. Nobody in the world does until the light comes. Feel your breath going out longer than it comes in. Feel the small warmth where your body meets the bed. Feel the pleasant heaviness in your legs, which have finished walking for today, and in your hands, which have finished holding, and in your shoulders, which have finished carrying. Nothing hurts more than it did an hour ago. Nothing is worse. The world has not changed while you were lying here. It has only gotten later and quieter and closer to the morning. Notice, return, if a thought comes in. Let it stand there in the doorway. Do not invite it further. It will get bored and go dot. Notice, return. There is no wrong way to do this. You cannot do this badly. You cannot fail at lying still in the dark. The camp sleeps. The fires are out. The river goes on, and the night is doing exactly what nights have always done, holding a few million people very gently until they wake. Let it be over. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down. Nothing is required of you. Nothing is required of you. Let's slow down, slower than feels natural, slower than a person would ordinarily speak. There is nowhere to get to. Breathe out, and again. A little longer this time. Let the out-breath be longer than the in. That is the oldest signal a body knows for safety. It says, nothing is chasing us. We are home. Your body understands it, even if the mind is still listening to the words. Breathe out. Feel the mattress. Take your weight completely, not partly. Completely. There is still a little holding somewhere. There always is. In the back, in the neck, in the place between the eyebrows where the day gets stored. Let it go. Not all at once. A little dot now, a little more dot. Good. The room is dark and warm, and nothing in it wants anything from you. The blanket has your weight. The pillow has your head. The bed is doing all the work. Nothing to hold. Nothing to carry. Nothing to solve. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down. Marcus is asleep. The book is closed. The coals are grey. The camp is quiet. The river goes on, slowly, in the dark, the way it did before he was born, and the way it does tonight, while you are lying here, 1800 years later, breathing dot. Notice how heavy your hands are. Notice how far away the day feels now. That thing you were worried about an hour ago. Where is it? It has moved off, somewhere out at the edge of the dark, and it is quieter than it was. It will still be there in the morning if it matters, and in the morning you will be different, rested, slower to fear, kinder to yourself, perhaps, but that is a long way off, hours away, a whole night away. Right now there is only this, a breath, then another one, warm, dark, a voice, a body letting go, one small piece at a time. Notice, return. If your mind has wandered, that is well. It means you are dropping. Do not haul yourself back. Just let the voice find you again. Wherever you are, notice, return. There is no wrong way to do this. Let it be over. Let the whole day be over. Nothing is required of you. Not now, not tonight, not until the light comes back on its own, without any help from you, the way it always has. Breathe out. Nothing is required of you. Nothing is required of you. Let's stay here a while, and say very little. The river, it has been there all night, underneath everything we said. It was there when we began. It will be there when we stop. It comes down out of the mountains, cold and dark, and it moves through the sleeping country without hurrying. It does not know where it is going. It only knows how to go. It carries a leaf for a mile and then loses it. It carries the reflection of a moon it will never reach. It carries silt and cold, and a little of everything it has ever touched, and it lets all of it settle further down, in its own time. Whatever falls in, the river carries a while, and then sets down. That is all it does. It has never done anything else. You can do that too, set the day in the water, the words, the worry, the list, the face of someone who was unkind, the thing you did not say, the thing you did. Let the current have it, it is, already moving away from you. Now, downstream, slowly, getting smaller in the dark, you do not have to watch it go. Breathe out. The trees on the bank do not move. The frost is coming. The sky above the water is black and full of stars that nobody in the camp is awake to see. 1,000 years of nights like this one, longer, people lying down in the dark, everywhere, in every century, and the water going by, and the morning always coming, whether or not anyone worried it toward them. There is nothing to do. There never was. Notice how quiet the room is. Notice how far away your feet feel. Notice that the voice you were listening to is a little slower than it was, and a little further away, and that you do not mind. Notice, return, or do not return. It is late. Let yourself go where you are going. The day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down. The river takes it. The river takes everything, and it never strains, and it never stops, and it does not care what it carries. Let it be over. Breathe out. Nothing is required of you. Nothing is required of you, if you are still with me, and it does not matter if you are not. I want to say one last thing to you, plainly, and then I will stop asking anything of you at all. You are safe tonight. Whatever is wrong in your life, it is not in this room. It cannot reach you here. It has to wait outside, in the daylight, where such things live. Tonight, there is only a bed, and a dark, and a body that is finally still. You are not in danger. Nothing is coming. The doors are shut, and the night is doing what nights do. Let your body believe it. Feel the safety of it in your chest first, where you have been holding on, then in your stomach, then in your shoulders, again, because they have crept up while we were talking, the way they always do, down there. You are allowed to be here. You are allowed to stop. You do not have to earn this rest. It is not a reward for a good day. Nobody gives it, and nobody can take it away. It belongs to you the way your breath belongs to you, quietly, without being asked for. Since the beginning, the tired part of you has waited all day for this. Let it have it. Marcus is far away now. 1,800 years, and 1,000 miles of cold country, and a river that has changed its course 100 times since he lay there. He is gone. So is everyone he wrote about. So is the war and the tent and the emperor, and the empire, and still the thing he said is here, in a dark room, keeping you company. Nothing that is truly kind ever really disappears. It just moves further down, like everything the river carries, and turns up somewhere else, a long time later, when someone needs it. Tonight it turned up here. For you, take it and sleep. Notice, return, or do not. There is no wrong way to do this. There never was. There is nothing to do at all. The day is finished. It is not yours. Any more you may put it down. Let it be over. Nothing is required of you. Nothing is required of you. There is very little left to say. I am going to keep talking a while longer, so that the silence does not arrive too suddenly. But you do not need to listen anymore. Let the words go by. The way the river goes by, the day is finished. It is not yours anymore. You may put it down. Marcus sleeps. The camp sleeps. The fires are ash. The river goes on. Somewhere, far off, it is already tomorrow. It is coming toward you, slowly, in its own time. And it will bring its own light. And it will bring the strength to meet it. But not yet, not for hours. Breathe out. Feel the weight of your body. Feel how the bed holds all of it. There is nothing under you but rest. Your hands are heavy. Your legs are heavy. Your eyes have been closed for a while now. Nothing hurts. Nothing waits. Nothing is coming. Everything you are carrying is on the water, moving away, growing smaller, until you cannot see it at all. Let it go, let it be over. The day is finished. And it was enough. And you were enough. And now it is night, and you may rest. Breathe out. Nothing is required of you. Nothing at all, not tonight. And so we come to the quiet end of the night. Whatever you heard tonight, carry it lightly. Hold it with both hands open. You don't have to keep it, or use it, or even remember it. It will be here again, waiting gently on another evening. And so will I. May the weight of the day be set down now, and stay down until morning. May the things you cannot change grow softer in the dark. May your kind, tired mind, the one that has carried so much and tried so hard, find that it is finally allowed to rest. There is nothing left to do tonight, nothing to solve, nothing to carry. You have done enough. You are enough. You can let it all go now. Just breathe, and soften, and sleep as deeply and as long as you need to. Sleep well, friend, and thank you, truly, for spending this night here at Restful Minds.